So if you had the choice between having Parkinson's disease or having a fungal infection, what would you choose? One of them, Parkinson's disease, has very broad range of possibilities for what causes it. So they basically say they don't know what causes it. And you just go on drugs that eventually probably don't work too well. And you can do some stuff to basically help with the symptoms, but basically your long range prognosis is not very good. And then this week, news comes in from a person who wrote a paper on and I'll put it down in the links below. It's pretty exciting news for people who have Parkinson's and their loved ones, and maybe other people who have other chronic diseases. So basically they're saying there's a skin fungus, and I don't say this name very well. It's called Malassezia. It's a fungus that they find on the skin and causes, like I have redness here and I have redness on top there, and other places on my body I get redness. Before I had the Parkinson's, and it got really bad around the time my Parkinson's got bad. So you start thinking a link, and apparently they call it fungal acne, and it's common in places like the Philippines and other places that are hot and wet, and it's a very resistant bacteria. But the theory is that it can get into the gut and also get up into the brain. And I think it's called ochratoxin. There's one of the fungus elements that, I'm not a full-on scientist, so a lot of this stuff is just I'm learning. But the ochratoxin apparently kills the dopamine receptor cells, so that might be it. So basically, a fungal infection can cause the same symptoms of Parkinson's disease. So I'm excited to find out that maybe I might have a fungal infection, which I can work on with diet and maybe some antifungals or other things. My last line of attack would be drugs, but what I'm doing is I'm not associated with these guys. I got it upside down. Turn it around. There. I'm sending my urine down to the States. Yes, my urine is on the way to the States, to this lab. I went around Canada with our great healthcare system and tried to find the labs for this, but they don't have them in the blood tests or labs here in Canada, so it's going down to the States. And they will do a panel of all the funguses and mold spores and stuff and find out if I have elevated levels. And they have found in people with Parkinson's an increase in these levels. So it's good news to find out about all this. So if you live in the States, it's even easier. You got the lab. They're called Great Plains Laboratory. There's new types of doctors. Like in Canada, we have a free healthcare system, but basically you end up at a GP, and then you end up at a specialist if you get a referral to that. Whereas in the States, they have chiropractors and other medical doctors and other people that practice something called functional medicine. So that instead of just sort of handing you pills in a 5-minute consult, they spend time with you and they do labs, and they look for things like molds and Lyme disease, and a lot of times they do stem cells and stuff. But basically the functional medicine doctors, as much as I understand, spend more time trying to find the cause of your disease rather than giving you drugs to mask over your symptoms, which is basically the healthcare system. Like in most free countries, you get a free healthcare, but it's just mainly for the symptoms, and it's very behind the times. They tend on the side of safety and protecting themselves, so they don't try much new stuff. So good thing if you're in the States, if you can find a functional medicine. And if you have a disease that like Parkinson's or something that's closely related, then you can throw maybe mold mold toxicity as a possible cause, and especially if you're similar to me where you have skin breakouts before or after the onset of your disease. So it's exciting. 2 days ago, this paper was published on Malassezia and Parkinson's disease, also relating it to inflammatory bowel disease. So the same fungus can cause that. And just as a patient with Parkinson's, this makes more sense to me because my dopamine levels can be really good at times. Like I don't take any dopamine drugs, so I'm just on natural whatever I have. But I notice that there can be such a change from day to day or hour to hour in my dopamine. So for me, it doesn't really make sense that my dopamine in my brain cells are totally burnt out, because I just have times where I barely function and times where I can totally function based on things that I do and stuff like that. So to me, it makes more sense that I have a fungal infection, and when I feed the fungus maybe things like sugar or things that make them breed more and they proliferate, that I probably get the dopamine cells in my guts. And it gets complicated. You got the vagus nerve, you got, I'm not going to get into all the complicated things now. It's impossible to reel them all off. But what I will do is I'm just making my blogs so that people see, like, if I get better, which I'm doing, like, I'm not saying I'm going to totally get better with Parkinson's. You never know. You can have really good weeks or days, and then you can have really bad ones. But my theory is that anybody can, if they're smart enough, can outsmart a disease, and you just need the right protocols. And I make these blogs so other people can see. So today I will put links down below for the Malassezia project, which is on YouTube. It's videos called the Malassezia Project, which is about the fungus. They're doing it for Crohn's disease, Parkinson's, and a few other things. And I'll put links down for these guys where you can get tested for mold. And I encourage you, whether you have Parkinson's or other things, if you have fungal skin acne, which is these small bumps on your head that look like acne but are different, and then you got a chronic disease after that, to maybe look down this road. And that's why I make this video today, so there's hope. Again, having Parkinson's, little hope. Having a fungal infection, lots of hope in my view. So anyhow, have a good day. Take care. Bye-bye.